she was not going to kill the prince. It was what it was, a decision with a cost she had counted and accepted. The tidal mechanism would not run. The harbor would continue. The boats would go out in the morning the same way they had gone out for 3 generations, and would continue going out for 3 more. The account would remain open. The eastern grounds the dockworker had reported empty would stay empty. None of this was acceptable. She had not decided it was acceptable. She had decided she was not going to do the thing that would have made it slightly less unacceptable. And she had registered the full cost of that. And she had sat in the dark until the dark began to thin. And now she knew what came next. She was going to call her sisters. She was going to descend. She was going to kill the witch. She was clear about what this would and would not accomplish. It would not close the account. It would not stop the boats. It would not restore the eastern grounds or give back the last deep school or change the names on any ledger. The system was older than the witch. The system would continue without her. She had understood this at the waterline before she had counted 12 on the dock pilings, and she had continued to understand it through the night. Killing the witch was not a solution. It was the only remaining thing she could do that belonged entirely to her. Not to the mandate, not to the system, not to the version she had built in the basin or the selection she had made to carry it. The witch had built this entire sequence, the pact, the surface, the tools, the timeline, the ultimatum, and every move the siren had made inside it had been anticipated and used. The killing was the one thing the system had not built. The system had predicted it, had prepared for it, had structured the succession around it, but it had not built it. It would happen because she chose it. That was not nothing. It was, in fact, the only thing in 11 weeks that would happen because she chose it, and for no other reason. She called her sisters at the waterline as the sky began to separate itself from the water. They surfaced without ceremony. "I need to go down," she said. Her sister looked at her for a moment, at her face, at the ledger under her arm, at the particular way she was standing, which was the way of someone who has finished deliberating. "You don't have the heart." "No." "Then you know what you're going back as." "Yes." Her sister looked at her for a moment longer. Not the look of calculation. The function of transit did not require more time. Something else, smaller, and without a name in the operational language either of them used. Then it was done. The sisters did not discuss it between themselves. They were part of the system that had delivered the ultimatum, which meant they were part of the system that needed whoever came next to arrive at the correct depth intact. The siren's choice was not their calculation to make. Their function was transit. "We can hold a pressure sleeve around your body," her sister said. "The same equilibrium that exists naturally around the deep vents. The water carries the pressure away from the center rather than into it. We maintain it around you as a moving shell until you reach the depth where the sea takes back what belongs to it. The legs will go at mid-depth. Below that point, you will not need us to hold anything." "How long can you hold it?" "Long enough. Do not stop moving." The water was cold in a way she had forgotten water could be cold. She had been living in air long enough for cold water to become something that happened to her from the outside, rather than the temperature she was made of. She entered slowly. The body's instinct to resist submerging was not something she had trained out, only learned to work around, and the harbor lights above were receding faster than she had expected. Her sisters positioned themselves on either side and slightly below. She felt the pressure sleeve form, not like a barrier she could touch, but like the structured absence of the thing that should have been crushing her. She had spent her life reading currents. She knew how water could be shaped. This was something more precise. A column of compensated pressure moving with her, maintained by two bodies managing the mathematics of it in real time. She could feel the effort in the way her sisters moved, the constant small adjustments, the tension in how they held position relative to her, the concentration that made them silent in a way they were not usually silent. She moved. She did not stop. The light above her became a surface, then a direction, then nothing. Below her, the dark was the dark she had grown up in. She recognized it the way you recognize a place you have been away from long enough to forget most of it, but not the quality of it. The specific weight, the specific temperature gradient, the way sound behaved at this depth versus that one. It was familiar in the way of something that had always been hers and had not stopped being hers because she had spent 11 weeks above it. At mid-depth, the legs went. It did not hurt. The witch had built the pact correctly in both directions. What it was abrupt. One moment she was managing two limbs, distributing weight downward against resistance. The next, she was managing a single limb that moved through 3 dimensions. And the water was no longer something to negotiate with, but something to move through. And the cold was not cold anymore. It was simply the temperature of where she was, which was a temperature she understood. Her sisters fell back. Their function was complete. She went the rest of the way alone. The witch's space opened around her exactly as she remembered it. The walls, the pressure, the quality of the dark that was not quite dark, because something in it produced its own faint luminescence, the way of very deep things that have been in the dark long enough to stop waiting for light from elsewhere. The witch was in the same position she had been in when the siren first arrived. She did not know if the witch had moved in the 11 weeks between then and now. She did not think so. The witch did not turn. "You came back without it," the witch said. "Yes." "And you believe this is a third option?" The siren had not said this. She had not sent word ahead. The witch had said it in the same way she had said everything, already arrived at the end of the statement before the beginning had finished forming. The siren felt the cold that is not temperature, but recognition move through her. The witch had watched the entire 11 weeks. The notebook, the dock, the basin, the 3 days, the 12 counted on the pilings, the night in the room with the ledger open and the dark thinning at the window. She had watched all of it and had said nothing, had adjusted nothing, had waited until the siren appeared at the threshold of the deep to deliver the last piece. "The system is not me," the witch said. "I have been here for 40 years. Before me there was another. Before her, another. The sea is older than all of us. The boats that covered the surface the morning you left will be there the morning after you kill me. The account will still be open. The mechanism will reset and find another window. All you will have done is become the next point of contact, slightly earlier than the system intended. I know, the siren said. A silence in the water. The witch turned then, not quickly, with the deliberateness of someone who has been holding something back, not because it requires concealment, but because the moment for it was specific, and the moment was now. He knows, the witch said. The siren went still. Not everything. He knows that something happened to her on the dock. He knows you were at the harbor that night. He has known for some time that these two things are connected. The witch's voice carried no judgment. It carried information, the way it had always carried information. Precisely, without adornment. He has chosen not to follow the connection to where it leads, because following it would require him to lose the only thing in the past 3 months that has made it possible for him to stand at the water every morning and believe there is a reason to continue standing there. The siren did not speak.